You answered the text, even when you were exhausted. You showed up, even when nobody showed up for you. You said, "I'm fine," so many times you almost started believing it. And here's the thing. People love you for it. They call you selfless, dependable, the strong one. But behind closed doors, you're running on empty. You can't even remember the last time someone asked how you were doing and actually waited for the answer. If any of that hit close to home, this video is for you. People who always put others first aren't just nice people. There's a much deeper psychology at play here. Psychologists call this pattern self-abandonment, and it's more common than you think. These are the people who feel guilty for saying no, who shrink themselves in conversations so others feel more comfortable, who will cancel their own plans, swallow their own feelings, and pour from a cup that was empty a long time ago. And here's what's heartbreaking. Most of them don't even realize they're doing it. It feels normal to them, natural, because somewhere along the way they learned that putting themselves first was selfish, that their needs were less important, that love had to be earned through giving. So they kept giving and giving and giving until they forgot what it even felt like to receive. This pattern almost always begins in childhood. Maybe you grew up in a home where things were unpredictable, where you had to read the room constantly, checking if mom was in a good mood, tiptoeing around dad's temper, making yourself small so things didn't escalate. Over time, you became hyper-aware of other people's emotions, almost like a survival skill. If I can just keep everyone happy, everything will be okay. Or maybe it was more subtle than that. Maybe you were the eldest child who had to be responsible, or the kid who got praised every time you sacrificed something for someone else. So your brain learned being needed equals being loved. Some of you grew up with a parent who was struggling emotionally, financially, mentally, and without even knowing it, you became their emotional caretaker at 8 years old, at 10, at 12. That's called parentification, and it leaves a mark. You grew up believing that your feelings were a burden, that your needs were inconvenient, that the safest way to keep love was to never ask for anything. And now, as an adult, you're still living by those same rules, in friendships, in relationships, at work, everywhere. Here's what nobody tells you about always putting others first. It doesn't just make you tired, it makes you disappear. Slowly, without noticing, you start losing touch with what you actually want, what you like, what makes you feel alive. Because you've spent so long tuning into everyone else's frequency, you've gone completely static on your own. And the loneliness of that, it's a very specific kind of loneliness, because you're surrounded by people who love you, and yet you feel completely unseen, because the version of you they love is the one who's always available, always giving, always okay. Nobody really knows the version of you that's tired, that's overwhelmed, that sometimes cries in the car because it's the only place where nobody needs anything from you. And the cruel irony, the more you give, the more invisible you become. At some point, the body starts sending messages the mind has been ignoring. Chronic fatigue, resentment creeping into relationships you used to cherish, anxiety that seems to come from nowhere, a quiet, nagging feeling that your life is somehow passing you by while you're busy managing everyone else's. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system waving a white flag. And this is the moment, if you're in it, where something important has to shift. Because here's the truth that nobody who puts others first wants to hear. You cannot give what you don't have. Helping people from a place of genuine love is beautiful, but helping people because you're terrified of what happens if you stop? That's not generosity. That's fear wearing a selfless mask. Real self-care isn't bubble baths and days off. It's learning to say, I can't right now. It's letting someone else carry their own weight. It's choosing yourself even when it feels deeply uncomfortable, even when the guilt shows up, and it will show up. If you've watched this far, I want you to hear something. You are not responsible for everyone's happiness. You never were. The people who deserve you, the real you, they don't need you to be endlessly available. They just need you to be present. And you can't be present when you've given every part of yourself away. Start small. One boundary, one honest answer when someone asks how you're doing. One moment today where you choose yourself without apologizing for it.
You've spent so long being everything to everyone else. Isn't it time you became something to yourself?